Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you're part of our journey. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready for a story that will leave you thinking. And if you love inspiring tales, a like goes a long way. Help! Please, just stop! Sarah's desperate cry vanished into the night as another car sped past, its taillights disappearing into the rain. That made 17 vehicles she'd been counting, each one accelerating when they spotted her waving frantically beside her broken-down sedan. Her 6-year-old son Tyler whimpered from inside the car, his small face illuminated by the fading glow of her dead phone. The storm had intensified in the 3 hours they'd been stranded on this desolate stretch of highway. Sarah's clothes were plastered to her skin, her hair dripping rivulets down her face as she struggled to maintain composure for Tyler's sake. The emergency flashers had stopped working 30 minutes ago, leaving them nearly invisible in the darkness. Each passing car represented another shattered hope, another reminder of how invisible they had become. Headlights appeared in the distance, cutting through the relentless downpour. Sarah summoned what remained of her strength and stepped toward the road once more, knowing this might be their last chance before the night grew dangerously cold. The approaching vehicle, a massive black pickup truck, began to slow, its turn signal blinking as it pulled onto the shoulder 20 yards ahead. The driver's door opened, and a silhouette emerged against the headlights, impossibly broad-shouldered and moving with purpose through the rain toward them. If this moment made you feel something, imagine what's coming next. Hit that like button and stay with us. Subscribe now. Sarah shielded Tyler with her body as the massive figure approached through sheets of rain. Her mind raced with conflicting instincts, relief that someone had finally stopped, fear of who this stranger might be. The roadside safety lessons she'd memorized as a young woman echoed in her head. Never trust too quickly, keep distance, be ready to run. But with Tyler shivering against her and nowhere to go, options had evaporated hours ago. "You folks need some help?" The deep voice carried easily over the storm, somehow both commanding and gentle. The man stepped into the glow of his truck's headlights and Sarah gasped involuntarily. Even drenched in rain, there was no mistaking that silhouette, the distinctive profile that had graced movie posters and action figures in Tyler's bedroom. She started, words failing as recognition dawned. The man smiled, that famous smile, and nodded slightly. "Yeah, that's me. But right now, I'm just a guy who saw you could use some help. I'm Dwayne." He extended a hand the size of a dinner plate, rain dripping from his forearm. "What happened here?" Tyler peeked around his mother's protective stance, eyes widening to perfect circles. "Mom," he whispered with reverent urgency, tugging at her soaked jacket. "Mom, it's the rock, the actual rock." Sarah explained their situation, the sudden engine failure, her dead phone, the 3 hours of watching cars speed past as Tyler grew colder and more frightened. As she spoke, Dwayne's expression darkened, his jaw flexing beneath his neatly trimmed beard. He glanced at the road where headlights periodically appeared, watched as another vehicle accelerated upon seeing them, and shook his head almost imperceptibly. "Let's get you both out of this rain first," he said, gesturing toward his truck. "Heat's running. Then we'll figure out your car." Tyler remained frozen in place, staring up at his hero with undisguised awe. "We have your action figure," he blurted suddenly, "and all your movies. Mom says you're the hardest working person in the room." Dwayne crouched down, bringing himself eye level with the boy, rain cascading off his shoulders. Despite his intimidating size, there was nothing but gentleness in the movement. "That's a pretty nice thing for your mom to say," he replied, his voice softening. "But tonight, your mom's the hardest working person I've seen. Standing out here protecting you? That takes real strength." He offered a fist bump which Tyler tapped with trembling fingers, his small hand disappearing against Dwayne's knuckles. Inside Dwayne's truck, the contrast between their previous situation and current surroundings was overwhelming. Leather seats warmed beneath them, the heater humming steadily as it chased away hours of bone-deep chill. Tyler had stopped shivering, his eyes darting around the vehicle's luxurious interior before inevitably returning to Dwayne with expressions of disbelief. "I called roadside assistance," Dwayne explained, handing Sarah a bottle of water from a gym bag in the back seat. "Because of the storm, they're backed up about 3 hours. But I've got a better idea if you're comfortable with it." Sarah hesitated. Despite his fame and the immediate trust he inspired, she was still a single mother alone on a dark road with her son. Dwayne seemed to read her thoughts. "I understand the caution," he said quietly, while Tyler explored the truck's entertainment system. "Smart, actually. Here," he showed her his phone screen, his active location sharing with what appeared to be his security team. "They can see exactly where I am, and you can text anyone you want from my phone. Your call." The gesture, his immediate understanding of her concerns rather than taking offense, spoke volumes. Outside, through rain-streaked windows, another car slowed, the driver clearly recognizing Dwayne's distinctive truck. The vehicle stopped completely, its reverse lights activating. Things are about to take a turn. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe, like our video, and keep watching. The reverse lights grew brighter as the car backed toward them. Dwayne straightened, suddenly alert. "Stay here," he instructed, his gentle tone replaced with something firm and protective. As he opened his door to step out, Sarah caught his arm. "Please, don't leave us," she said, immediately embarrassed by how desperate it sounded. "I'm just going to check who it is," he assured her. "Doors lock automatically. If anything seems off, drive away. Keys are in the ignition." The approaching car stopped about 30 feet behind them. A man emerged, his face obscured by the hood of an expensive raincoat, holding a smartphone aloft like a beacon. Even through the rain and darkness, the posture was unmistakable. A fan seeking photos, autographs, content for social media. Dwayne's shoulders dropped slightly, not in defeat, but in recognition of a familiar intrusion. "It's fine," he told Sarah. "Just someone who recognized me." The man approached rapidly, phone extended, voice carrying over the rain. "Dwayne Johnson, holy shit, it's really you. Can I get a quick video? My followers won't believe." "Not a good time, brother," Dwayne interrupted, gesturing toward Sarah's disabled car. "Got a family with car trouble here." The fan's eyes flickered dismissively toward Sarah's old sedan, then back to Dwayne. "Just 30 seconds, man. This is huge for my channel. I've been following your career forever." Inside the truck, Tyler watched the exchange, brow furrowed with confusion. "Why is that man bothering the rock when he's trying to help us?" he asked his mother. "Look," the fan continued, sidling closer to Dwayne while positioning his phone for the best angle. "I'll even help them after. I've got tools in my car." Dwayne stepped deliberately between the man and his truck, using his considerable frame as a shield. "Appreciate the offer, but what they need right now is privacy and help, not to be in someone's content." The fan's friendly demeanor slipped. "Come on, man. I drove past, recognized your truck, and came back specifically to meet you. I passed these people earlier. Everybody did. It's raining, it's late, not my problem. But I came back for you." Those words hung in the air, made more damning by the casual manner in which they were delivered. Inside the truck, Sarah flinched as if struck. This man had seen them, a mother and child in obvious distress, and deliberately driven past. Only the prospect of meeting a celebrity had been worth turning around for. Dwayne's expression remained neutral, but something changed in his posture. A subtle shift that anyone familiar with his films would recognize as preceding action. When he spoke, his voice was quieter, yet somehow more commanding. "You're telling me you saw them and kept driving? A woman and her kid stranded in a storm?" The fan seemed oblivious to the shift. Everyone drove past them. It's not safe to stop these days. You can't be too careful. He gestured impatiently with his phone. "So, how about that video? Then we can all get out of this rain." Several yards away, another car slowed, then pulled over. A young couple emerged, cautiously approaching. The approaching couple hesitated when they saw the confrontation. The woman nudged her partner and whispered something. Dwayne noticed them and raised a hand in acknowledgement before turning back to the fan, who was growing visibly frustrated. "Just a quick video," the fan insisted, his smile now forced. "Then we can worry about them." He gestured dismissively toward the truck where Sarah and Tyler watched. "Look, I've got 20,000 followers. This exposure could actually help them. I'll mention their situation, maybe set up a GoFundMe or something." Dwayne took a deliberate breath, rain streaming down his face. When he spoke, his voice carried clearly despite the downpour. "Brother, I need you to understand something. What's happening right now isn't about me or you or content or followers. It's about basic human decency." Inside the truck, Tyler rolled down his window a few inches, determined to hear his hero's words despite his mother's gentle protests. "There are times in life when we have clear choices," Dwayne continued, "moments that reveal who we truly are. You had that moment earlier tonight and you chose to drive past a mother and her child because stopping wasn't convenient." The fan's expression darkened. "Don't lecture me, man. I came back, didn't I? Not everyone has your money or resources. Some of us are just trying to get ahead." The young couple had drawn closer now, the woman clutching a folded umbrella. "Excuse me," she called tentatively. "We saw the car with the flashers earlier but couldn't stop then. We felt terrible and turned around when we could. Do they need help?" A small crowd was forming now. 3 more vehicles had pulled over, their occupants emerging with curious expressions that transformed into recognition upon seeing Dwayne. This story is only getting deeper. What would you do in this situation? Comment below and let's talk. The scene had transformed in minutes, from isolation to an impromptu gathering on the rainy roadside. Phones emerged predictably, their screens glowing in the darkness as people recorded. The fan, sensing his opportunity slipping away, grew bolder. "See? Everyone wants content with you," he insisted, gesturing toward the gathering crowd. "It's just business, man. Nothing personal against them." He nodded toward the truck where Tyler's face pressed against the window, eyes wide with confusion at the unfolding drama. Dwayne's patience visibly thinned. He turned away from the fan to address the gathered onlookers directly. "Folks, I appreciate you stopping, but there's a family that needs help here. Their car broke down hours ago." His voice carried authority without aggression. "If you're here to help, fantastic. If you're here for photos or videos, I'm respectfully asking you to put the phones away." To everyone's surprise, most phones lowered immediately. The young couple who had first arrived stepped forward. "We have jumper cables and tools," the man offered, "and my wife's a mechanic." An older gentleman in a raincoat raised his hand. "I've got a full emergency kit and blankets in my trunk." "I stopped because I recognized you," a teenage girl admitted to Dwayne. "But my dad taught me never to pass someone stranded on the road. We have water and snacks if they need them." One by one, people began offering genuine assistance. Only the original fan remained fixated on his phone, recording the scene with growing agitation. This could be huge content, he muttered. A celebrity rescue on a stormy night. Why is everyone ruining it? Sarah emerged from the truck, Tyler clinging to her hand. The gathering of strangers, now turned impromptu rescue party, created a protective semicircle around them. The young mechanic was already examining their car, hood propped open as her partner held an umbrella over her. Others were unloading supplies from their vehicles, blankets, thermoses of coffee, roadside equipment. The persistent fan pushed forward, phone still recording. This is gold. Dwayne, just one statement about what you're doing here. One quote for my followers. What happened next occurred so quickly that few would later agree on the exact sequence. The fan lunged forward, attempting to position himself next to Dwayne for a selfie. In doing so, he bumped roughly against Tyler, who stumbled backward into a puddle with a startled cry. Within seconds, Dwayne had moved, not toward the fan as many expected, but to Tyler, crouching beside the boy and helping him up with gentle hands that had thrown countless movie villains through walls. "You okay, little man?" Tyler nodded, more startled than hurt. When Dwayne stood, his expression had changed. The fan took an involuntary step back. "You want content?" Dwayne's voice was controlled, but carried an edge that silenced the entire gathering. "Here's your content. Real strength isn't about muscle or money or fame. It's not about how many followers you have. Real strength is what this mother showed standing alone for hours in the rain protecting her son while people like you drove past." The fan lowered his phone slightly, for the first time looking genuinely uncomfortable. Around them, other phones had raised again, but now they were documenting something unexpected, a genuine moment of reckoning. "Real strength," Dwayne continued, his voice carrying over the rain, "is stopping to help someone even when it's inconvenient. It's choosing kindness when no one's watching. It's putting others before yourself." He gestured toward the gathered helpers, like these folks are doing now. The fan's phone had lowered completely, the recording forgotten. Around them, the collective energy had transformed, from spectacle to community. The teenage girl had wrapped Tyler in a dry blanket. The mechanic called out that she'd identified the problem, a relatively simple fix. 2 men were already pooling tools from their vehicles. "The world works better when we look out for each other," Dwayne said, addressing everyone now. "Fame doesn't make me more important than anyone here. What matters is what we do when someone needs help." The fan stared at his shoes, then at Sarah and Tyler. Something in his expression shifted, the beginning of genuine remorse. Without a word, he pocketed his phone and walked to his car. A moment later, he returned with a toolbox and approached the mechanic. I have some tools that might help," he offered quietly. The mechanic nodded, making space without comment. Redemption required no fanfare. Sarah found herself standing beside Dwayne, watching the impromptu community that had formed around her broken car. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me," he replied. "Thank all of them. They're the reminder that most people are good, given the chance." He smiled that famous smile, but now it held something more honest than any movie poster could capture. "And thank yourself for the strength you showed protecting your son all that time. It's not over yet. The best part is coming. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it." Within 30 minutes, Sarah's car hummed back to life, repaired by many hands working together. The young mechanic explained the fix, a relatively simple electrical issue exacerbated by the rain, while others helped clean up tools and equipment. The storm had eased to a gentle drizzle, as if matching the calmer energy that now surrounded them. Throughout it all, Dwayne had worked alongside everyone else, holding flashlights, fetching tools, and keeping Tyler entertained with magic tricks learned on movie sets. When someone shyly requested a photo, he suggested instead a group picture of everyone who had helped, insisting that Sarah and Tyler stand in the center. "This is the real story tonight," he said, as phones captured the unlikely roadside community. The fan who had started the confrontation approached Sarah and Tyler as people dispersed. "I'm sorry," he said simply, "for driving past earlier, and for how I acted. It wasn't right." He knelt to Tyler's level. "Your mom is pretty amazing for keeping you safe out here." Tyler looked up at his mother with unmistakable pride. "I know," he said. "She's stronger than the rock." Nearby, Dwayne laughed, a genuine, rumbling sound. "He's absolutely right about that." As the impromptu gathering dispersed, people exchanged contact information, connections forged through unexpected circumstances. Sarah received business cards, phone numbers, and genuine offers of future assistance from strangers who had become something more. The older gentleman insisted she take his emergency roadside kit, refusing any payment. "Just help someone else when you can," he said with a warm smile. "That's payment enough." Before departing, Dwayne pulled the fan aside for a quiet conversation. No one could hear what was said, but the young man's demeanor transformed, humbled yet somehow taller, as if unburdened. When they parted, they shook hands with genuine respect. Sarah tested her car one last time, the engine purring steadily. Tyler had fallen asleep in the back seat, emotionally exhausted but safe and warm. As she prepared to leave, Dwayne pressed a business card into her hand. "My personal assistant's number," he explained. "Call if you have any trouble on the road. And this," he handed her a sealed envelope. "Hotel reservation for tonight. It's paid for. Too late for you two to continue driving." Before she could protest, he held up a hand. "Consider it thanks for reminding me and everyone here what really matters." 3 days later, the story exploded online. Multiple videos from bystanders captured the night's events from different angles. Real strength began trending, with millions sharing their own stories of unexpected kindness and community. The most viral clip wasn't of Dwayne's confrontation with the fan, but the quiet moment when he'd helped Tyler from the puddle and declared that true strength comes in many forms. The fan's channel underwent a transformation, his usual celebrity hunting content replaced by reflections on community and kindness. His video titled "How the Rock Changed My Life, Not How You Think" became his most viewed upload ever, a candid confession about learning hard lessons about humanity on a rainy roadside. Sarah received thousands of supportive messages and declined dozens of interview requests. She only spoke once to a local paper, saying simply, "Fame didn't stop to help us that night. A good person did, and then more good people joined in. That's the real story." A week later, a small package arrived at her apartment. Inside was a custom action figure, a mother in a rain jacket with "real strength" emblazoned on the base. The note read simply, "For Tyler." So he always remembers who the real hero was that night. DJ. Wow, what a story. If this moved you, imagine what else we have for you. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and let us know what you think.